someone else that we definitely need more from, and we're not going to get any more from him, is Robert Sanchez. Another dreadful performance yesterday. I know Fofana misjudged the header back to him, but Højlund was going away from goal. Why he's coming rushing out, making a rash challenge in the box like that is beyond me. We feel nervous every time he's got the ball. He's shaky. His distribution's dreadful. I don't think the defenders trust him. But Maresca is insistent, that he's really happy with what he's doing. He's a number one. He likes him.
He has to be though, because what other options does he have, Charlie? Let's be real.
And then today, there's this nonsense coming out. The Sanchez PR is in absolute overdrive. Robert Sanchez received the backing of Maresca, and Chelsea retain full belief in his talent. The feeling within the club is that Sanchez has all the ingredients to be one of the best goalkeepers in the league, and that his decision-making will eventually catch up with his talent. I mean, are they trying to convince themselves, or do
decision-making will eventually catch up with his talent?
Do they think we're stupid? I don't know what the situation is. He's probably our oldest regular starter at 26. Can you still view him as relatively young for a goalkeeper? Maybe you can. I don't know, but for me, I've seen enough. This guy's crap. He's honestly dreadful. He wasn't really even that good at Brighton, and for me, more scrutiny needs to be put on the decision that was made to keep Robert Sanchez at the club this summer. More needs to be highlighted about that. There should be more questions about it. Serious questions, in my opinion, need to be asked about the decision to go into this season with Sanchez as first choice. For a club like Chelsea, right, the amount of money we've spent, the amount of goalkeepers we've signed, outside a small period from Edouard Mendy, we haven't had a top-class goalkeeper since Thibaut Courtois? Yeah. How have the club allowed that to happen? How has that been allowed to happen? I just don't get it. We've done some very good recruitment, but this is gross negligence. It really is. In one of the most important positions on the pitch, you look at the difference it makes when you have a top-class goalkeeper. You look, Klopp goes and signs Alisson, makes such a big difference. For all the money we've spent on goalkeepers, we've got a pool of keepers who, let's be real, probably none of them are good enough to be a first-choice goalkeeper for Chelsea. And the best one we had on the books at the club last season, they decided to send him on loan and get rid of him this season. So it's incredible. It really is. And this is one area where, every man, like Maresca, I think Maresca's been great, by the way, this season. I'm a big fan of the work that he's done. One thing I'm not a big fan of, and managers have got players that they just got blind faith in for no reason. Like every manager's got one. And obviously for Maresca, it's Sanchez. I reckon in private, he knows that this guy's crap, and he just obviously can't say it. He's just not going to say it in public. But I mean, well, firstly, where do you stand on Sanchez to begin with? Because let's be real, this guy under Potter at Brighton, he was good for maybe a season and a bit. Other than that, he's been crap. He was third choice at Brighton. We then spent 25 million quid on him. He was shit last season. He's shit this season. And, he genuinely, if he continues, he could cost us a place in the top four. I'm not overreacting. I'm being serious.
Well, Charlie, you know where I stand with Sanchez, because I told you where I stand with him last November. That's not changed. It's been a year, and my stance on Sanchez is exactly the same as it was. And maybe at the time I was probably unfair because I wasn't giving him time at the time. But now it's been a year, and I know that what I saw for those first 2-3 months, I knew that he wouldn't be good enough. And, people praised him many games where he made loads of saves. And I said that he put himself in those situations. And that's just the bare minimum of you to save your own mistake, recover your mistakes. But the fact that for a year he's not improved on his biggest weaknesses is a real worrying a real worrying sign. How could you not possibly improve? And yeah, okay, he got injured last season, but he then has a chance, like at the start of the season, to prove us wrong. He was kind of replaced by Petrovic because, I mean, we thought we'd see him in an FA Cup spell, but obviously he got injured, so he came in earlier, and we were all like, yeah, can we all unanimously agree that Petrovic is our number one keeper? The fact that we made that decision, but the way he started out as well has just been, again, giving away cheap like penalties, yeah, okay, combining with Fofana for yesterday, but just shocking moments with the ball at his feet. It makes us nervous. He gives the ball away. I mean, again, even against Newcastle last weekend, I was keeping tally of every time he played the ball at the back, how many times it ended up at a Newcastle player. It was around 7 in the first half. Twice kicked out of play completely. So we're talking about the bare minimum of a keeper. We're not having conversations about if this keeper can get us, into top 3. There's obviously no way that we could challenge for a title with Sanchez, no offense, but absolutely not. And the fact that he came and he arrived into last summer as a number 2, right? But he kind of instantly became number 1 because Kepa left for Madrid. So it's the fact that, he never came in with the intention of being number 1, but because we didn't go about our business and the goalkeepers, how we approach that situation, we are still left with number 2s and number 3s. It's just kind of pick your best, There isn't a number 1. There isn't a world-class goalkeeper in there. There isn't even one that's just remotely a good all-rounder, not amazing all-rounder, but just to be an all-rounder, because Sanchez isn't that. And frankly, from what I've seen from Jorgensen as well, it's not been enough. But let's be real, he's not going to be good enough either, is he? He's young, he's still got a lot to learn, but yeah, so you're left with the what's it called? You're left with the hope that we can continue outscoring our opponents, because at the back we might be in trouble. So it's not good. It's not good.
No, it's not good. And you're right. Look how many players have improved since the start of the season. Jackson's got loads better. Madueke's improved a lot. Neto's improved loads since he's come through the door. That's just 3 off the top of my head. Caicedo, another one. Lavia is improved. I know he didn't really play much last season, but he's getting better. There's loads of examples there of players getting better. Sanchez is not got better at anything. His shot stopping was quite good anyway. The one thing what Maresca said he's in the team for was his distribution, and with the ball at his feet, that is not getting any better. If anything, that's getting worse. And as you say, like pretty much every time he gets the ball, it either goes to the opposition or it goes out for a throw-in, or he plays someone into danger on the edge of the box with a pass that he shouldn't be playing. What I don't get is what more is it going to take for Sanchez to be dropped? What more do we need to see right now? Does he need to cost us the game against Arsenal on Sunday? Does he need to? I don't know at this point, because right now there's so much evidence that this guy's not good enough. But I think one thing that's probably going in his favour in terms of Maresca is that the competition's crap at the moment. Jorgensen's he's only 22. He's a young keeper. He's just come in. He had a shocking game at Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. But when you've played against Panathinaikos, Barrow, and Ghent, and then them games he's had virtually nothing to do. He made a very good save early doors against Panathinaikos, but in those games he hasn't had much to do. We haven't really found out anything about him as a goalkeeper. It's very difficult to say that would he be better. I don't want to say he's not good enough, because he's not had a chance. But when that's the competition, a young, inexperienced goalkeeper, then there's no wonder he's staying in. And it goes back to the squad planning in one of the most important positions on a football pitch, and it was utter shit from us. And now we're seeing it cost us pretty much week in, week out, mistakes, all the time from Sanchez. I mean, what more do you think needs to happen for him to genuinely be replaced?
I actually don't know. I actually couldn't tell you. I couldn't give you a rational explanation. And it's the fact that we now have as many goalkeepers as we do on our books that it is a clear indication that we've not done this part of business correctly, and we've not addressed it. And it's almost like they've gone into the season just really hoping that Sanchez could turn it around for himself, or just. I actually don't know, Charlie, because there's no way that they watched last season and they thought that we could be just fine with Sanchez, unless they had faith and really thought that he could become this goalkeeper that they've envisioned when signing him. There is no other explanation, because we did have the option to go in for a goalkeeper. It's not like there weren't any, especially last summer. Like, we should have done our business much better even back then. So then it was left over for the next window, wasn't addressed either. And now it's just kind of something that gets kind of thrown onto the next one. It's almost like the striker situation. I know that's died down now because we've been able to score goals and we're among the top scorers in the league, but it's almost that similar situation where, say, God forbid, we'd started this season out not being able to score goals, we'd be sat here talking about that, not addressing it. And it's those problems that haven't gone addressed, even as maybe an experienced centre back. I think it's not unfair to say that maybe that should have been looked at, addressed, talked about, etc. But I think they've just kind of gone into the season and said, yeah, hopefully Sanchez can improve, get better, turn it around, and hopefully we can continue scoring goals, because the more goals you score, nobody really talks about your keeper or your defenders, etc., which is wild. We're Chelsea, we need to have balance across the whole team. You can't go through a season challenge for top four and I don't know. There is
no, you can't. And you know what? Like, people were trying to say to me yesterday, oh yeah, but he made some good saves yesterday. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did make some good saves. He did make some good saves yesterday, but we know he's a good shot stopper, but that's useless when you know full well there's at least one big error every game.
And it's the bare minimum as well. It's errors that it's like, just, do you know what I mean? It's like a bare minimum. We're not asking for wonders here on the pitch. It's just about distributing the ball without giving it away to a player of the opposition all the time, and then inviting the pressure, because that's where a lot of defensive errors get made as well. And I literally, kid you not, Charlie, I watched Reece James's thought process on the pitch against Newcastle. He literally found himself in a situation, can't remember whether it was Isak or whoever. I watched him contemplate whether he passes the ball back to Sanchez or just chooses to deal with Isak himself. That tells you everything you need to know. Our defenders don't trust Sanchez.
They don't trust him. How can you have trust in someone that just radiates nervous energy to the stadium, to the players around him? And I think that's part of the reason why maybe we're making quite a lot of mistakes defensively as well at the moment, is there's no trust in the goalkeeper whatsoever. He's not got authority. He's not a leader. He's not marshalling that back line. And there's no signs of improvement whatsoever. If a young player's making mistakes, but you can see they're improving, you know that's kind of all right. Look, 26 is not old for a goalkeeper, but Sanchez is not an inexperienced player. He's 26 now. He's not like he's 21, 22, where maybe you can make a bit more of an exception for something like that. This guy's 26 now. He's an experienced Premier League player. What the fuck what's going on with him? I mean, who decided, right, after watching last season, that it was a good idea to keep Sanchez over Petrovic? The only thing I can think of is that there was literally no one wants to buy Robert Sanchez, which is why we had to get rid of Petrovic instead.
But that's true, isn't it? Because we spoke about it on the market. Petrovic would just naturally last season have been worth more than Sanchez.
Yeah. Sanchez is not even, I wouldn't even pay 50p for Sanchez. But he's so, I just don't understand how a club like us can spend all this money, sign all these goalkeepers, and you look at our options in goal this season, and you just think, how shit is that? And it's like one of the most important positions on the pitch: goalkeeper, centre half, number 6, and a centre forward. And yet, we're lacking a top quality centre half. We're lacking a goalkeeper. And that for me is probably 2 reasons why we're struggling so much at the back. But I don't know what we can do about the Sanchez thing, because he's going to keep playing. And luckily, he's not going to play on Thursday night. I'm waiting for a mistake on Sunday from him. It's not a question of if, it's when he's going to make a mistake. He did it last season against Arsenal, played the ball straight to Declan Rice, and absolutely fucked that game for us, basically. And he's going to do it again. And it's a really terrible position to be in as a team, where you're watching your goalkeeper and he's going to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's no good for anyone. But I mean, we've got away with a few of the mistakes that he's made so far this season, but in the big games, you're not going to get away with it. We didn't get away with it on Sunday. We didn't get away with it at Anfield. And in other big games, we're not going to get away with it either. But like, there are goalkeepers out there. You know, there are good goalkeepers out there that you can go and buy that are a million miles better than Sanchez. But we've simply chosen not to address that issue. And I don't really feel confident with any of the players, any of the goalkeepers that we've got on our books. I mean, Petrovic, I think, is arguably the best one. But is he really good enough to be a long-term Chelsea number one? I don't know. I don't know if he is. And this is the problem. But look, I mean, you could talk all day about Sanchez, but ultimately, the reality is he's first choice. He's going to keep playing. And we're just going to have to accept that is the case right now. But I mean, do you reckon, like, if he makes a mistake against Arsenal, surely, like, if he costs us the game against Arsenal, for example, that must mean after the international break at Leicester, he must be out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't keep doing this.